The road we're on is paved in Garth.
Come along on the journey.
As we explore
Garthology.
Think of it more as a conversation. I like that. So if this is truly a conversation, then I say let the conversation begin. Showtime!
Hey guys, it's Deb.
And I'm Pete.
And I'm Jess.
Welcome to Season 3, Episode 6 of Garthology. For today's episode, we are going to discuss bits of information that Garth has talked about in his recent Inside Studio G, which, in case you guys don't know, if you haven't been able to catch it, it happens every Monday that he's not doing something else, but most Mondays on Facebook Live. So it's great because he goes on Facebook and you can see it's all video. It's from his Facebook page. And he also goes in conjunction with the Garth channel on SiriusXM. And so it's really cool. I watch it every single Monday. I love it so much. And he gives a lot of good information. And so I've been thinking recently, if you don't watch those, you're missing out on a lot. So I suggested to Pete and Jess that we discuss some of those interesting tidbits. So that's what we're going to do now. We're just going to catch a couple of them, and then we'll catch up more on a couple others later. So again, if you haven't been able to see these and you want to see them live, Facebook Live is the place to be Monday afternoons at 4 o'clock West Coast time, so 7 p.m. East Coast time, and it's from his Facebook page.
Yeah, so if you're a slacker or you're like me and you have littles at home right now or you work full time and it's hard to take time to catch it, Deb's going to recap the recent episodes, a few of them for you.
Exactly.
And if you do what I do so you don't miss them, you could always turn on them really, really reliable notifications. So I get it. I get it on my Facebook. I get it on my Twitter. And then I also get a text message that comes through that says Garth Brooks is now live.
So Pete knows exactly when it starts.
Yeah.
All right. So we want to make sure that you're all caught up on the topics he's been discussing lately. So let's start with his video on January 24th, 2022. So first off, Studio G started with dive bar video. And that footage is so fantastic. It's from Club Rodeo in San Jose, which took place back in December of 2021. And dang, it looked like so much fun. Now, I have to say, Garth's videographer is great. The videos are fantastic shots. And I checked in with our friend Alex Paulson, and he told me that Garth's videographer is Trevor George. And I just want to say, way to go, Trevor. Your work is amazing. The videos alone make me want to go to one of these dive bar shows. How much fun would that be?
So much fun.
It would be so much fun. And he's right. You're right. That Trevor, man, he does a great job. I've seen him obviously on some of the lives that they went to on Instagram when they were doing some of the dive bar. And that man we always gave Garth a lot of credit for being, up in the ceilings and one stage to the next and jumping here. But if you could catch Trevor in some of these videos that they do on Instagram Live, that guy is everywhere. So he does great work.
He does do great work. All right. Another interesting thing in this video for Facebook that day was they announced the very first High Friends in Low Places. Now, this is the new thing, if you haven't heard, where some folks in the 200 section of the Orlando Stadium show will be invited to come down to the field for sound check the night before the concert. I can't even imagine that. I mean, it makes me almost want to buy Orlando tickets just on the off chance that I would get invited to sound check.
Right?
But with your luck, it probably would happen, just so you know. So if you're going to buy one ticket, buy three. Me and Jess got to go too.
Yes, definitely.
The cool thing about that is, my understanding, right? You get to go to sound check. You still keep your tickets for the show. which is great too. It's not like you're trading them off. You were just getting upgraded and offered to come, which I thought is awesome.
That is awesome. So you get to see more than one show. And plus, I'll go into more detail on that. Another Facebook Live, Garth talked a little bit more about that. So I'll have that in one of these upcoming ones. It's been reported that some people are starting to receive their emails. So you must check your email address. The stadium will send out an email, not Ticketmaster. So if you have seats in the 200 section for Orlando, be sure and check your email and check your spam folder too, just in case. So in the same Facebook Live, the next bit of information he gave out is that he owes his youngest daughter, Allie, a tattoo. And he promised that he will get one this year, 2022. He said they decided on it years ago and that this is the year he's going to pay it off. There has been lots of comments flying around Twitter asking what he's going to get. He's speculated about it in other Inside Studio Gs. So what do you both think he will do? Do you have any ideas? Like Pete, let's start with you. What do you think Garth will get for a tattoo?
It's very simple. I sent him my autograph, and then he'll just get that tattooed. That's what I'm thinking. And a big old picture of me with 2 thumbs up saying cheese.
Because it'll be near and dear to his heart.
Right. He's gonna put it right over his
right on his chest.
My buddy Pete.
It's weird. It's weird to think, and like I've thought about, like, what would he get, right? So I think it's going to have something to do with family. If they've got some kind of family logo that they have, I think it'll have something to do with that. I think it'd be too cliche and not like Garth to get the Circle G tattoo. I mean, I think that's not something he would do. I don't know. Like maybe the kid's initials and birthdays in a real cool way. Maybe you could throw in his and Trisha's wedding anniversary date or something like that. I'm not sure. Maybe there's a saying like everything that, is a curse is a blessing, every blessing is a curse. So maybe something like that, I thought. I don't know. What about you, Jess?
I agree that I think it'll probably be something with his family. So I have no idea what it will be, but 3 of something maybe to represent each of the girls and then something for Trisha. I have no idea how it would tie together, but I definitely think it'll be something, related to them.
Something caught that, Jess.
What's that?
In the Road I'm On Netflix special, all of the girls wear necklaces.
Oh yeah, their necklaces,
and they all have
so something like that, like
something cool like that. I bet
the 3, and then something with Trisha. I'm pretty sure he could do something totally for himself that he's been thinking about for a while. But if I was guessing, I would think it'll be something for the family.
I agree with you guys. I think you've nailed it. I think it'll definitely have something to do with family for sure.
Well, here's a secondary question. Where do you think he gets it tattooed on his body? What part of his body?
Good question.
So he said in that Facebook video, he said, I'm going to start with something small, just get a sleeve.
Or a big old neck tattoo.
I mean, I would guess like his arm, like a bicep, but because it's covered most of the time, but I don't know. I guess he could get it right on his butt cheek and no one will ever see it. He'll be like, I love you guys. And I have a tattoo that represents you right on my right cheek.
Nobody will ever know it. Like, there's a picture of it right on my butt.
I would think maybe I think a bicep thing. I think that's him. Okay. So we have an idea of, we believe where, who knows what it would be, but I think family. I think that's definitely going to be high on his list. So let's move on to the next Facebook Live video that took place on January 31st, 2022. And some of the information he talked about in that one. Again, he discussed high friends in low places. So the folks in the 200 section in Orlando getting an email inviting them to also come to sound check the night before. But in this Inside Studio G, he said that even if people only bought 2 tickets, they would receive 4 tickets to sound check. No matter what, they would get 4 tickets. So it would be them and 3 friends would get to come to sound check. He also said that sound check is the cheesiest experience and that he's excited that these people will be the only people on the planet that get to see the show from the floor and from up high. And he believes at least half of them will say the up high seats are as good as or better than the floor experience. So my question to you guys, which seats do you think will be better? And what do you think of this new bonus that Garth is giving to his fans? Pete, what do you think?
So I definitely think that the bonus he's giving out to the fans is amazing. I don't know that there's anybody else in showbiz or any kind of genre of music that puts on live shows, concerts is doing this. So I think that it's great because it's just another way for him to pay respects to his fans that, you know, travel the miles and spend the dollars to come see him. I think it's a great reward. And the fact that they're not just doing, if you buy one or two or three tickets, you get four, I think that that's awesome too. It gives people who weren't able to get tickets that know somebody who was an opportunity to come see him. So I think that that's phenomenal. As far as the seating, being able to see it up close and up high, we've been fortunate enough to see it from both angles as far as a live show, right? We've been on the floor, we've been somewhat close. Vegas was something that, you know, it could never ever happen again. And, you know, we've been up high, right? As many shows as we've been to. But the special twist here, I think, is the fact that it's going to be a select number of people only in sound check. And you're going to get Garth in the sweatshirt or the t-shirt and the backwards cowboy hat and the jeans or whatever. You know, it's not going to be a full set of you know, all the band and the fans. It's going to be very intimate, and I think that that goes a very long way. It might not be as scripted as the live show because there'll be interaction, and I imagine he'll probably talk to some fans and they'll try some stuff, and you mess up and you go back, you make some changes, whatever it is. That experience in itself could be so much better than center stage front row right in his face for an entire live show. So that I think that there's something there that's definitely going to go a little bit further than being up high at a live show. But at the same time, like I said, we've been up high before, and I don't know, you know, the way he does it, there's not a bad seat in the house anywhere. The music's great, the fans are always awesome, and it's always made for a good time. But that intimacy and the way that that's going to go, that'll be pretty freaking awesome. I definitely wish I was there for sure.
Right? I think you made a really good point about this is something that nobody else has ever experienced. And so the intimacy of that and the getting to see him in those moments that no other audience has ever seen, I just think that's priceless.
Right? Yeah, that's crazy. What about you, Jess? What are your thoughts on it?
I have to pick on you because you said we get to see Garth in his backwards cowboy hat, and I know you meant his baseball hat, but then I was picturing
Yeah,
him in a
ball cap.
backwards cowboy
Sorry.
hat, and then I was like, it kind of looks the same. I think I don't know if you could really tell.
Good catch.
That's
I meant
fine.
ball
Laugh.
cap, but I was
Yeah.
making sure you were paying
Well,
attention.
Yeah, we all knew what you meant, but it made me giggle. I think that you're right. I think that there are definitely perks to all of them but there's going to be something definitely cool and unique about the experience of seeing soundcheck. I would love to see a Garth Brooks soundcheck, and I think he's going to make it cool for his fans, but I think it's just another way that Garth's not afraid to kind of to get to know his fans a little bit more and get closer to them. I just don't think a lot of people take the time to even worry about things like that or think like, what's a cool thing that we could do to give back that they would think was fun and unique. And so I think that that's awesome that he's doing that. I haven't been as close as you guys were recently, so I can't say the difference with those kind of seats. But Deb, you and I were really close at one of the shows that we went to in California, but we were on the back side, or it might have been Vegas. I think it was California though, but on the back side of the stage. And so when they were on that side, it was really cool to be that close because it was kind of the stage was in the round, and they spent time on all the sides. But I mean, I think that there's something to be said for those high up seats too. I think I wouldn't want to always sit that high, but I love the crowd at a Garth show. I love to watch everybody get into it, and I think being able to see that, being behind the crowd and see everybody moving and singing and standing along with the song, that's an experience too because if you've been to a Garth show, people show up and they respond and they sing, and not every concert's like that. So I think it's fun to watch the crowd too. So definitely, I think there's great things to just be there, be there for the show, be there to see everything happening live. Because there's some people that have still never gotten to see their Garth show, so I'm just
Right.
grateful every time I get to go to have a good time. And I try to put my phone away as much as I want to have pictures and video. I really just enjoy watching the show, and I always feel like I'm missing something whenever I have it out, so I try to keep it brief and just enjoy that experience no matter where my seats are. So I don't know,
Yeah.
I think you could make an argument for any of those things.
Right. And you made a great point. Like, sitting down there like front row and then sitting up in the 200s or the 300s at a Garth show,
Yeah.
you're going to get the same type of people in the 300s that you get in the
Yes.
200s, that you
Yes.
get in the 100s, that you get center stage front row. We're all there for one reason and we all enjoy it equally. Everybody's in a great mood. Everybody, like you said, shows up to have a great time. And I think that's what makes these Garth shows so special. So I agree with you there. That was a great point.
Thanks.
And I like both. I will say being up close recently made me really love being up close. But I can see how, getting to see the audience and their reactions, you definitely can't do that from up close. I have no idea what those other people in Vegas were experiencing behind us. So yeah, I totally get that. That makes sense. Now, from Garth's perspective in that video, he said he actually prefers the experience from up high, but I have to lean a little more towards up close because that experience recently was just amazing.
He didn't sit in our seats in Vegas. If be a different story if he did.
If he did, yeah. So just a reminder to those out there that have those 200 tickets, be sure and check your email. You must RSVP. So look for that email. If you're one of the lucky ones that gets picked, answer that email. Don't miss out on that opportunity. All right, so in the same video, he next talked about his upcoming Gillette Stadium show in Boston, and he also told a story about being the opening act for Kenny Rogers at Gillette Stadium in the late 80s, and that they really had a great time there. I love that he opened for Kenny Rogers. I grew up listening to Kenny, and I love that connection to Garth. I just thought that was such a cool story.
I want Garth and Trisha to sing Islands in the Stream.
Oh my
Ooh.
God.
Sorry, that
wouldn't
just popped
be
in my
awesome?
head. Yeah, that's going to go on our list of duets they need to do. Somebody needs to be writing these down, right?
Right. All right. So the next thing he talked about, he read a tweet from Darcy Edgel, which I hope I'm pronouncing her last name right. So in case you haven't seen the tweets and the Inside Studio G's where he's mentioned Darcy, let me tell you, this story is awesome. It started in July of 2020, and since then, Garth and Darcy have exchanged a few sweatshirts. So I'm not going to give away any more information about that story because we are going to have Darcy on an upcoming episode. We're working out the details now, so stay tuned for more on that. But it's a great story. You guys will love it. It's probably the coolest thing I've ever heard of a celebrity and a connection with their fan that they have. So I'm really looking forward to recording that episode and you all hearing Darcy's story because it's amazing. So moving on, Garth announced in this episode that the anthology book number 2 is officially coming out. It's been on hold for a while, but it is official now. So that was exciting. And I was super happy to hear about it because I have 1 and 3 and I want to add 2 to my collection. I know we've discussed anthology number 1. We haven't covered number 3 yet, but we definitely will cover it. And now we're going to cover number 2 when it comes out as well. And in conjunction with Garth's announcement about Anthology 2, he also mentioned the thing that I know Jess is going to be very sad about.
What?
Because he mentioned Chris Gaines.
What?
So the Chris Gaines project was supposed to be included in anthology number 2. But Garth said it's not going to be mentioned in it after all.
Why?
Just kidding. Garth announced that Chris Gaines has his own story coming out.
Yes!
Coming
It could
out.
totally
Yeah.
be a
It's
whole
gonna be
own
fun.
book. It could be its own book. Sorry, I had to say that in a voice that didn't make my son cry. He did not like me making that noise.
Bo's like, yo, what? I've never seen Mom so excited. What happened?
He did not like it. It's okay.
I knew you'd be excited about it, but I didn't know you'd scare Bo about
Right?
it.
Apparently, I was very excited. I'm so excited. It was scary. Yes, I am very excited, though. I could definitely read a whole book, watch a movie, watch a, 5-part miniseries, whatever they want to do about it. I'm there for it. I love the whole Chris Gaines thing, and that album was brilliant.
I think Trisha agrees with you. So, okay, moving on. So the next part of that same Facebook Live, Sue Owens, who follows our podcast on Twitter, sent in a tweet asking if Garth would ever open a bar in Nashville. And if he does, she suggested some bar names for him. So now they've discussed that on a few of the different Inside Studio Gs, and they've asked people to send in name suggestions. So my question to both of you, what are your bar name suggestions? Pete, let's start with you.
Let's see.
Yeah, I mean, I've thought about it, obviously, listened to the show, and the one that always comes back has got to be Friends in Low Places, right? I mean, because it just makes sense. But, I mean, there's just so many different, I mean, Garth Brooks, The Last Call, or The Call, or you could do, there's just so many, but it's got to be Friends in Low Places.
What if it was Garth Brooks's Low Places, and then it was like a chain, and there were a lot of them?
Oh,
yeah, I would
that
vote
would
for
be
that.
rad.
Yeah.
Another one I like is The Oasis.
Oh, yeah.
yeah.
But it was named after the Oasis, right? Because that was already a place, right?
Right.
Garth Brooks Oasis.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A little more
Brooks'
popular,
two
probably
pina
more well
coladas.
known. Yeah, that
Yeah.
would be good.
Well, and then you can also start coming up, and another thing they've done now is people have started coming up with drink names too. The Face to Face or The Last Call, or, there's so many.
The Lonesome Dove.
The Thunder Rolls. Could you imagine that
Yes.
drink?
Oh,
Yes.
I want to drink the
Knock-
Thunder Rolls. I
Yeah,
don't know what
right?
it
Can you
is, but I
imagine
want to
that?
drink it already.
The dance would be like some high class, like martini or something. Just sip your martini called
That
the
would
dance.
be so fun if they were all named after songs. Oh my gosh, I want to go there.
But I'll tell you one thing about the bar. Like, and somebody had mentioned it, we talked about when they, like Garth Brooks' bar and museum.
Oh, that's cool.
When they started talking about it being also like a small museum where there's a bunch of memorabilia, because Garth Brooks mentioned it himself. He said, you know what? He goes, I save everything. He goes, I have everything. Maybe we could even throw a couple toothbrushes in there,
Yeah. He's got a few to spare. I mean,
Yeah.
Yeah, he does. Well, I think that all those Garthologists out there should start sending in some ideas. You can send them to Garth, but you can also tweet them to us. So when you tag Garth in it, tag GarthologyCast also. We want to hear your bar names and your drink names. So the final thing I want to mention from that particular Facebook Live video, a woman tweeted into Garth a picture of a t-shirt that said, Garth in the streets, Gaines in the sheets.
oh, I love that. That's amazing.
I just got so excited again. She's
I knew she would.
Yeah.
So just so you know too, Jess, Trisha was in the comments of that Facebook Live and she got really excited too.
Dude, I would date that guy without even seeing him if he was wearing that shirt. just for wearing that shirt.
Yep, Trisha said she would wear that shirt.
Yep. Garth was so embarrassed when that came out. Like, he didn't get embarrassed
Yes,
a lot,
he
but you could
was.
tell he kind of started turning red. It was good.
That's hilarious.
He did. It was awesome. I make t-shirts. I just
Yeah.
may have to make that t-shirt.
Wear it to San Diego.
That'd be amazing. No, because we have to wear our Garthology t-shirts to San Diego.
I was just thinking recently, because you're talking about merch, that my son needs some Garthology
Oh.
merch.
Yes.
We forgot
on,
in
we
Vegas to go to
failed.
the merch line. Yes, we did.
Well, we got to get him some Garthology stuff, like she was saying. we
Yeah,
have
he's
that.
like,
We can do that.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Garthology
Oh.
wear. He's like, I'm 6 months old,
Oh.
man. I don't have any Garthology.
He's part of every
clothes yet."
podcast now. He's got to have something.
It's true. All right.
But by the time you make it and
That's
give
on
it to
my
him,
task.
you got to put him in like a 18 or 24 month.
Yeah, you better. Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely size up.
It's
Make
true.
it big.
Yep. Okay. So the next Inside Studio G was held on February 7th, 2022, which was also Garth's 60th birthday. So this was a big one for him. And it was also a really big show for our Garthology podcast. First off, in this one, there were lots of birthday wishes. Trisha stopped by with a cake and candles. There were gifts. The G-Men gave him a gift. It looked like a really cool book with a bunch of letters from each of them. And Trisha got him a trophy of a goat.
Goat.
And all Garth would say about that, because it said 2G from T, you know why. But he wouldn't say anything other than It has nothing to do with music. And there was a wink and a nod. So there was a little bit more about that, which came up later in the episode. So Garth, in that, he also talked about the Vegas one-man shows, which Pete and I were there. So we will review them on an upcoming episode. And then the Garthology moment happened. And I'm going to let Pete tell this one.
Yeah, so lo and behold, we're sitting there watching it. And when Aunt Deb and I had left the one-man show in Vegas, we thought that it would be a good idea if we sent in an Ask Garth. So we stopped on our way home in Barstow and re-recorded a quick something and with 2 questions. And Aunt Deb's question actually will then turn into what else he had to say about the trophy, where she asked, around the house, does Trisha and Garth they just start singing with one another? Like one of them will start to sing something, and then Garth will jump in and finish it or whatever it was. And then my question was about a prior episode that we had done on the podcast about 15 interesting things or whatever it was that we were looking up. I had found that Garth Brooks has, 80 toothbrushes at his house at any given time. And so I asked him if it was true or was it just something that was out on the internet. And we're watching, and all of a sudden, boom, Sam comes on and she goes, these 2 were in Vegas. And Garth says, yeah, they were. And he pointed at me and he said, I remember him. And that floored me. I mean, that is a highlight of my life. 42 years old. That's it. If everything just stopped and ended today, I would be okay with that. That was amazing.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah, it was so great. I mean, I literally, I don't have any favorited pictures or videos in my camera roll. That's it now. That's the one. It's the only one that's in there. It's amazing. But he went on to answer the questions, and I'll have Aunt Deb tell her story to the answer of her question. But he actually did say that the toothbrush thing is the nervous tick that he has. A lot of people out on tour, they'll eat or they'll drink, they'll pick the guitar, whatever it is. And his nervous tick is he actually just continues to brush his teeth. And he mentioned a couple shows where they cut to him and he's brushing his teeth and they cut back and he's still brushing them. And that the band and crew had actually gave him a gift of 60 toothbrushes for his 60th birthday. And that floored me because I thought after all the stuff that we researched out of that episode, that was going to be the one that wasn't necessarily that wasn't the one that was the truth or for real. I never, ever thought that I would ever be able to ask Garth and that he would answer it. But the fact that he did, and he remembered me when he did it, and the fact that he answered it, and it is true, I was mind blown. I was crazy. Crazy. That was awesome. It was so good. I can't stop. I can't tell you guys how often I watch it. I pretty much know everything about it by heart. It was awesome. But okay, so enough of that. I'll just talk about it all night long. I can't stop. It's so amazing.
Whole episode just about that.
Yeah, just that 2-minute section. I'll just talk about it forever. But Aunt Deb, you got to tell the story about your answer and the trophy.
Okay, so like Pete said, my question to them was, do they do duets around the house? Like I told him, I picture in my head that, one of them starts a lyric and they both lean in together and they finish the lyric off and they harmonize together. And I asked him, does that really happen in real life the way that it happens in my head? And Garth went on to say, no, they don't really do that. They don't do any singing around the house. He said that they don't have any awards around the house, that the house just isn't about music. And that's when he kind of stopped and he said,
when me and Monsieur were together,
we're a couple. And then he leaned over the table, he picked up the GOAT trophy and just looked at the camera and smiled and blushed and said, this, and just was and I just thought, oh my, Garth Brooks just got embarrassed. Something went through his head about what that trophy means and what it has to do with being the GOAT. And I mean, I have my ideas now. And if it's true, I say, good for you, Trisha. I'm super happy for you.
I need to call out my wife and figure out when I'm getting one of them GOAT awards. Jeez Louise. I'm going to go buy myself one. Oh, it was so good.
It was such a great moment.
It was so good. I mean, the fact that they, that he answered us and, the Garthology and, that we were there and he remembered me and he answered our questions or whatever, all that's great. But the answers that he gave to those questions, they weren't just like, okay, we picked them and I get 60 toothbrushes or whatever. He explained in detail what it was about and why he does it. And I thought that was really cool. And he was honest about it. And even, like Sam had mentioned, she goes, all these years, the research we've done, I've never heard anything about toothbrushes. I got to believe that this one is false. And he said, no, it's actually real. And I was like, whoa. And then the answer that he gave to yours was in depth. And I think that it was honest. It was detailed. And then just a perfect way to finish it off was whatever that meaning behind that trophy was, which obviously I think we all have our ideas. It was perfect. It was absolutely perfect.
It was perfect. I loved it because it was personal and funny, and he let us into his life. And that's one of the things that I love about these Inside Studio Gs,
Absolutely.
because he gives us a glimpse into his life and what they are experiencing it at the moment that they're experiencing it,
Right.
and what it's like for him going out on tour and answering all of these questions that his fans have. That really means a lot to me because I feel like I know him more as a person based on what those little bits that he lets us see inside his world.
Right. And another thing to back up on top of that, like, we went on Friday to this show where he remembered me from. We also went on Saturday, but he probably remembered me there too, but I mean, who wouldn't? But anyways, but Friday, right? So we're there Friday and we're in that show, and you and I leave that show and we talk about it all night Friday, and we talk about it all night Saturday, and we talk about it Sunday on our way home all night. And the stories and the people that I told, that there were plenty of times during that Friday show where I really felt that there were multiple times that we saw each other. You saw Garth, Garth saw you, Garth saw me. And I knew at that one point when he started singing the dance, like when he started announcing it, I already knew it from the Win DVD that that's the song he was going to sing when it was the dance. I stood up and made sure that like he knew how much I appreciated that song. And you tell the story, you tell the people, man, I really think, at that point, like him and I really made contact. And, but then again, you don't know, right? You're in a room of 3,000 people or however many people were there. Was he really looking at you? Like, was he really looking at me? Was he looking over me? And I just think of that. But like the fact that he said that he remembered me, I think that puts all that wonder to rest, right? Like that was really there. So we'll talk about it again in more of another, when we recap it. I could go on all night, but that was awesome. It was freaking fantastic.
It was freaking fantastic. So, all right. Well, that wraps up this episode of Garthology. Like I said, we just wanted to give you some tidbits of information about his recent Inside Studio G Facebook Live videos. We do have more that we will cover in an upcoming episode, but for now, we just wanted to give you those little bits of information that we found really interesting. Have you checked out our website at garthology.com yet? If not, stop by today and check out our past episodes and bonus content. And remember to subscribe to our podcast on your podcast platform of choice. If you listen on Apple Podcasts, it's been quite a long time since our last review. If you get the chance, please stop by and hit that 5-star button if you like what you hear and encourage others to listen. Finally, be sure and share us with everyone you know. That way you can help your friends in low places become Garthologists too.
And speaking of friends in low places, we are on social media, and I got to tell you, our social media has been going crazy lately, and I love everything about it. So if you want to reach out to us on Facebook, we are on facebook.com/GarthologyCast. And if you're on Instagram and Twitter, we are at GarthologyCast there. So when you're there and you're visiting the site, please feel free to like, share, tweet, retweet, and or just direct message us if you have any questions or ideas, and we will make sure to get back to you and answer you there. We do appreciate all the support, guys. Thank you.
And be sure to join us for our next episode of Garthology, where Deb and Pete will be reviewing the recent one-man show in Vegas and their most recent stadium concert in San Diego. That will be Season 3, Episode 7, and will be available on your podcast platform of choice on March 27th. Until then,
this has been Season 3, Episode 6 of Garthology. And I'm Deb.
I'm Pete.
And I'm Jess. We'll see you guys next time. Bye.
Bye.
Bye, everybody. I mean, you're so childish. Bye. I mean, just bye, everybody. Come on.
I'm just going to pause for a really long time next time and not say bye.
Yeah. Bye.
Finish it! Finish it!
You will receive an email from the stadium, Gillette Stadium, not Ticketmaster.
Auntie, you said Gillette Stadium?
Isn't that what it's called?
No,
Oh,
Orlando.
no, that's the net.
That's
Gillette is
Foxborough.
Boston.
That's Boston,
Good
right?
catch.
So we were just kidding. We're not talking about Gillette. Let's go to the Camping World trip, the Camping World show in Orlando.
Camping
That's what we meant.
World,
So watch
that's
for
it.
Camping World. If you get anything from Gillette, it's probably $5 off on your next razor purchase. It's not upgraded Garth tickets.
Just kidding. He said it's because Garth Gaines has his own story coming out.
Not Garth Gaines.
Oh, God bless. So,
I mean, that could be its own cool thing, but
Garth Gaines. Yeah.